I got to get that right. I think I messed it up again.
It's been 2 weeks. You've been gone, and
That's right.
I was thrown off because you're like 3, 2, 1, and here we go live. And I looked over, and my clock literally turned 1 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm like, oh, he wasn't
right
kidding.
on time. Right on time. I missed it.
I feel like we're a little rusty. It's been too long.
Probably. Everything Teams Phone Live, episode 38, coming at you live from Seattle, Washington, and from
Denver, Colorado.
Colorado.
Colorado, as Coloradans say it, but I'm not from Colorado, so I say Colorado. Colorado.
You say it like my New Zealander fiance. It's like the garage. It's like Colorado. Come on, it's Colorado.
Yeah,
it is Colorado.
The locals here give me grief.
Colorado.
Yeah,
I would too. Well, welcome everybody to episode 38. We are back to basics today. We've got some huge things to talk about, but what I want to tell you is what today's episode is all about. It is all about understanding what Microsoft Teams Phone can do for your organization, because we get questions every single day. Every day. I was in a meeting day before yesterday, and it was a college organization. It was a college, and they want to understand how Teams Phone is going to replace their Avaya system. And that is great questions came out of a discussion like that. So I think Teams is as popular as Teams In, which, by the way, the information that's out there right now, Microsoft released their last quarter results, and with Teams is up to like 320 million daily active users. That's massive. Yeah, like 320, like that grew 20 million over the last quarter, because it was 300 million last quarter, the quarter before that. Now it's 300 million. Why are so many teams, or why are so many organizations hopping on Teams? Well, because it's really good. I mean, this is a fantastic platform that everyone, I think, it should use. What's that?
Not only that, but I mean, I'm going to tie it back into not that we need to talk about the subject in depth, but I've been on multiple conversations these last several weeks with, customers that we're onboarding, where, I mean, we're seeing them come from everywhere, right? Avaya, lots of Cisco customers coming off Cisco, and lots of people coming off company that starts with R and ends with something like C or L or something like that.
L.
But kind of I was just on a call yesterday with one of our new customers that's coming off Cisco, and it was actually a partner, but flat out boiled down to not just features, but cost. And they're like, we're going to save so much money coming off of Cisco, and not trash talking Cisco. Just, there's a reality to that.
There really is. And this is what people need to understand. And this is why this episode is on today. It is understanding how Teams is going to replace your phone system, because you think about a phone system and you go, I know it's a piece of equipment there, or I've got this hosted provider that takes care of this and they build this for us and they do that. And I've got a portal and all this good stuff. Right. And then I go to Teams, and Teams is so complex. I mean, look, Microsoft makes an amazing platform in Microsoft Teams, but it is complex. And it's not like, let me just poke around and just go turn my customers on, or my service on, and off we go, right? And let me find a one pager that shows what I need in order to activate Teams Phone. So what you do need is you need a partner that can help you along the way, and that can kind of really make this a good, easy, simple journey for you, because quite frankly, it is.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go a little off. Not that we have a script, but I'm gonna go a little off topic here for a second, because I think I want to hit two birds with one stone here, and you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but Copilot, right? Microsoft's AI assistant, it's GA, is it November 1st?
I think it is November 1st. Is it,
yeah, so
isn't it already GA? I thought it was GA October 1st.
Hey, I'm making guesses because I can't remember the dates, because there's, Microsoft, they have 8,000 dates that they make announcements on, but that's not my point. My point being, I don't know, Rick, if you saw in the news, was it earlier? No, it was maybe earlier last week. I think you were, we'll get to talking about your gallivanting the globe here in a minute, but did you see Amazon's Microsoft deal announcement for $1 billion over 5 years? Amazon is leaving their productivity suite to go to Microsoft 365 because they're that impressed with Copilot.
Wow, no kidding. I did not hear that.
If that does not tell you what the industry is doing, like when all eyes are on Microsoft, like Amazon making that kind of agreement, not saying they're going to Teams Phone. I don't know for sure because the article doesn't really talk about all of what they're going to be doing with Microsoft, but it's the 365 productivity suite that they're going to. $1 billion over 5 years. That's massive. So anyone paying attention
right here, look at that.
Yeah, anyone paying attention like that's a telling sign.
Hold on a second. I'm going to make a couple of observations here. You've got Cisco devices going, we're going to include Cisco, we're going to include Teams in our Cisco devices.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got Amazon going, hey, we're popping into your 365 cloud productivity tools because they are that good. So that's pretty impressive. I did not hear that. I did not know that. And the reason, Brandon, I did not know that is because I've been out of country for a little over 2 weeks.
And I locked you out of your work productivity while you were over there so you could enjoy some time off.
How crazy is that, everyone? Like Brandon locking me out of stuff because he wanted me to enjoy my time off. Isn't that crazy?
I'm looking out for you, man.
I appreciate it. I will say this. I got a question for those listening out there. Is 2 weeks too long on vacation? I have never in my life taken 2 weeks off, and I probably never will again because towards the end of 2 weeks, it was a little longer than 2 weeks, right? Towards the end of 2 weeks, I was getting a bit sort of like antsy for work and not able to, to quench that thirst, if you will, because old Brandon locks me out of stuff.
I could tell because you started like towards the end of your 2 weeks, you started hitting me up on WhatsApp more often. Like, dude, you're on vacation. Leave me alone.
I didn't notify my WhatsApp. Hey, all my tools are down. It's just WhatsApp now. I was out in France for a couple of weeks and then in the UK for a few days. But it was pretty cool. I did enjoy my 2 weeks off. So, that was pretty fun. Picked up some words in French, some bonjour, some bonsoir, some l'édition, s'il vous plaît. That's the bill, please, because they're never in a hurry to bring you the bill when you go out to eat. But it was pretty fun to be in Paris for a bit, in Reims, which is in the Champagne region, Epernay, which was pretty cool. And then down in Nice and Cannes and Monaco and the French Riviera. So it was pretty awesome time. I really enjoyed some R&R and getting away. And then we were trying to structure who could host Everything Teams Phone Live with Brandon. But then Brandon was like, well, I need to go on vacation too. We got to plan this thing together. So Brandon, what did you do?
I met I had a friend come from another country to the U.S. and I met that friend in first Washington D.C. and then New York City. This friend hadn't been to either city, so it was a lot of just your generic showing them the highlights of the cities.
Interesting you say that because I love New York City. I love hanging out in New York, but it's funny because I was in Nice, I think, and there was a couple there from, I can't remember where they were from. They were sitting there talking to someone, some Parisian person, I think it's Paris. And they were talking about how New York City and LA are not what America is about. And I'm like, man, that's what are you talking about? Like, that's like, and then he said, he went into, and this is where you'll kind of agree there. He's like, there's the parks are the beautiful part, right? It's the Yellowstone and Glacier and all the different parks that are beautiful in America. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll tell Brandon about that because
honestly though, it comes down to, it's a totally different experience. Like there's obviously I grew up in the Northwest, so very familiar with the national parks across the Western US. But then there's something I hadn't really done a ton of because I don't spend a lot of time on the East Coast is remembering how cool like Broadway shows are. Because I took this friend to a couple Broadway shows and just, the quality of that experience is, you don't realize how cool Broadway is until you're there, taking it all in. So
The quality of the productions on Broadway is always like blown me away because you know,
Mhm.
if you go to plays in different cities and things like that, and it's really good and everybody does a really good job and it's a you know much appreciated and all that good stuff. But when you go to New York and you experience the quality of a Broadway show, you're just like, dang, that's amazing! Like the music, the live music, you know, the acting, the you know, it's just really amazing the
Yeah.
showmanship of some of these
So
actors and actresses.
I'll say one thing to pull us back into everything
There we
Teams
go.
Phone
Do it.
Live is
Do it.
I was in Times Square at one point, walking through Times Square. Actually, I stayed in Times Square, so I was always cutting through Times Square. And pretty much everywhere I went, I had to walk by the Microsoft office there. And it looked like it was under construction from the outside. So made me think, with all this growth they're seeing, are they doing something with the building? What are they doing? Obviously the ever evolving Microsoft, I guess, is all I'm saying.
Well, I actually walked by that building about 3 weeks ago because before I went to Paris, I was the week before that. I was in New York, as you know, and but yeah, I remember walking by that, and it was like some scaffolding up around it. Anyway, okay, well, yeah, the ever evolving Microsoft. We're excited to announce a few things that are pretty cool here, guys. Number one, you may or may not have heard, but G12 Communications, that's right there, G12 Communications, has signed to be acquired by Momentum Telecom.
So I need my, come another week or two, we're going to need to update the shirt, maybe powered by, or, whatever we want to,
sponsored
we
by,
want to sponsor. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So Momentum Telecom, if you're out there listening, woo, let's go drive some Teams opportunities. Anyway, it's all fun, but yeah, Momentum is adding G12 to their portfolio of companies. They've acquired a lot of different companies in the past 5 years. And they've acquired G12 to be the Teams engine for Momentum Telecom. So that's pretty exciting because as a smaller organization, we have a pretty robust list of customers and larger customers, and it's really exciting to see an investment in what we're doing as an organization to go take that nationwide. There we go.
Yeah, no,
how's it going, Scott? How are you doing?
and I think it solidifies what we're doing. Everything about the show, everything about what we're doing in the Teams ecosystem, and like it's going to be, to be punny, it's going to give us momentum. I had to do that now that I see Colin is on. But yes, we're excited for it.
Yeah, so that's happening. That's so we're off to the races. I think you're going to see us from a national perspective really take it to the channels and into supporting Microsoft and having Microsoft support us, and then I think you'll see us expand this on a global level and be a force to be reckoned with, because we so strongly believe in the Teams phone system for every business customer out there, and that's what episode 38 is about. So without further ado, we're going to stop the banter and we're going to dive into what can Microsoft Teams Phone do for your organization. Will it work as a phone system? And the answer is a resounding absolutely. It is. Absolutely, it can.
I was going to say, duh.
Well, here's the thing. We work with organizations all the time, and sometimes, IT. Everybody knows what Microsoft is doing and what they're up to and everything, but sometimes it takes a bit to filter into IT. Like, hey, can we really use this as a phone system? Like, okay, we use it for chat, we use it for this, for that. Can we really use it as a phone system? Of course, we got Office 365 and we have our suite of Microsoft services, but can we really use it as a phone system? And I think the answer is yes here, that we want to show you what it can. What I think I'd like to start off with, Brandon, is people often ask, can Microsoft be just a normal phone system? Like, gosh, guys, I'm a 50-person law firm and I just need a phone system. We have a phone system, and can Microsoft serve as just a phone system? And the answer is yes. So we're going to show you a couple of different things. So if you go to, I'll share my screen really quickly because I do want to show what this looks like before Brandon gets into his stuff here. So let me share this screen with you. If you head over to Microsoft's site, you'll see this, what I'm talking about here now. this Microsoft Teams device store, essentially, right? So you can take a look at this device store. And what's exciting about this, if you go to basic phones, so let's just say you are a healthcare organization, need phones on the desk, great. There's a lot of different phone options that are compatible with Microsoft Teams, more so than there ever used to be, right? It used to be really a really specialized sort of, I think it was a CCX model way back in the day for Polycom. But now there's a lot of different audio codes. There's Crestron. We here at G12 use a lot of Yealink devices. We actually find this MP series, the MP56, MP54, MP 58 as really, really nice phones to put out to organizations that are requiring physical devices. So the answer is, if you just need a basic, I mean, look at how basic this phone is right here. Not that that's a phone that you want to have, but
I'll tell you, the next phone I want is the neat frame. And the reason why, if you scroll, it's up above right there. The reason why, down one more,
right here.
There. The reason why is you know me, I'm a technical guy, so I spend a lot of time whiteboarding, and as you know, in a virtual environment, it's harder to whiteboard. And so I'm constantly complaining that I don't have a touch screen with a stylus that I can whiteboard on. So I want something like this to be my next phone.
It's hard to see how big this actually is. It's a nice display. Like, this is a really nice display. And in fact, I wonder if I go shop by devices and sort through and see if there's the neat frame up here. So there's headsets, obviously, that's how most people are using Teams today, because they're using the soft phone component. But there is boy, I wish I could show.
It's probably it's about the size of, it's a little bigger than probably like the iPad Pro.
Right, it's bigger than the iPad Pro, and that was what I wanted to get at. The iPad Pro is a pretty decent size, and the neat frame is a little taller. What makes that interesting is that it does have a nice sort of stand, right? Like the angle of the stand. What they're using that a lot for is self-service, right? So
kiosk, check-in,
the kiosk and the check-in. The virtual receptionist, that sort of thing. That's what that's being used for. It's actually very, very popular. And I think it'd be fun to take a look at those. But you can see all the devices here that are built for Microsoft Teams. And it used to be that was super expensive. And now it's not. If you look at this Yealink A10 series bar as an example, I just picked one out of the, this bar for $1,200, something like that. That's your 4-person, 6-person meeting room bar. I actually have a little larger version of that right there. Actually, let me show that, because I think that's pretty interesting to show. So, here's this bar, and this is the UV40, I believe it is. But you can see how big it is. It's not huge. This it sits on top of a TV, or it sits mounted on the wall there. And this is for about a 6-person conference room. And it's pretty cool because, again, you're used to, if you're used to going into a conference room and you're like looking for the remote control to go, how do I turn this, this screen on? Well, if you've got a TV and you've got, all sorts of, if you got the Microsoft Teams room set up, then you get this right here. You can pop on, you've got video, and it's super intelligent that it follows your audio. And really kind of focuses in on the person that's actually speaking. So it's pretty cool. There's a Panicast 50 out there. That's pretty awesome. I saw a note from Tom Arbuthnot this morning that said the Panicast 50 is like, it does onboard AI, and it's a fantastic device by our friends over at Jabra. And so those are pretty cool. So if you're looking at setting up rooms, if you're looking at doing phone service, just as a basic phone system, the nice thing is that you've got one system to do it all, and it's Microsoft Teams Phone, right? Now, why do people use partners like a G12 today? It's because the ancillary services that you wrap around the Microsoft Teams solution, because Microsoft Teams as a phone system is just that. It's the phone system there, right? But if you're looking at POTS lines, if you're looking at other SIP devices, if you're looking at faxing, if you're looking at text messaging, right? If you're looking at contact center, there's all these ancillary services that organizations need in order to come out with a complete solution. So that's why you have partners like G12 that provide services into the Microsoft ecosystem.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Because you're out on the front lines, every day, except for when I lock you out in Europe. How often do you talk to a prospect about Teams Phone where they don't need ancillary services? Is it 50-50 or is it
never?
It's more
Never.
often than not.
It's more often than not an organization needs a component of the the ancillary services that we offer. So a real simple one, and this is like, I know the IT guys are going to cringe when I say this, but a real simple one is faxing. Like every healthcare organization, every government agency, every education institution, all of those organizations still fax. Now, whether it's eFax, electronic fax, or they have some level of fax machines sort of, built into their organization, they all still require faxing. And Microsoft is like, when it comes to faxing, it's hands off, right? Hands off. So you still need faxing. So when you go to, let's say, a cloud provider like G12, and we're talking about a cloud solution, a cloud PBX. Well, that UC provider, Momentum as an example, that UC provider has got a POTS line ready for you for your alarm, whatever it may be. They've got the fax line ready for you, or eFax solution ready for you. They have, your UC taken care of. They have the devices that they're going to ship to you on board, and they're going to train you on everything. So UC has really trained the organizations or the consumer out there that we're this provider of this all-in-one service. Teams is a component, right? It's just like, here's the Teams Phone solution. It's right here. Now, they include the room in there. They include a lot of different components that you can tie into the Microsoft Teams ecosystem and all the tools. But as an organization that has a facility, let's just say, so we're talking still knowledge workers, but an organization that has a facility, elevator lines, alarm lines, door overhead pagers, door actuators, all those components need to be addressed. And that's why you have organizations like G12, because we support those platforms out there. One of the things that I was going to say is that if you're pure knowledge worker and you don't have a facility, and you don't need devices in any way, shape, or form, you could get away with just popping into Microsoft and just using Microsoft all by itself and figuring out how to digitize everything, right? Mm-hmm. But most organizations out there, mid-market, global, and even the SMB particularly, are still, years and years behind. And the reason I even say that is because the numbers are something like this: 35%, I think, penetration from a voice over IP perspective. That's UCaaS, Teams, Cisco, Zoom. That's everybody included in that, right? All the providers out there have only penetrated this the business phone market by 35% or so. So you still have 65% of organizations that are sitting out there with a physical phone, right, and with some hardware in their closet. So lots and lots of organizations still to adopt, and one of the things that we try to do is share that, man, this is real simple stuff. This is not, going to scare anybody. It's put some devices out if you need some devices, but we can build a phone system for you and add the services to it.
Yeah. And I guess before we shift back to the phone system, I have to, because I can't, obviously you and I talk all the time, but I'm starting to get more and more excited the more I see my developers coming forward with what we'll announce eventually on something that's native. I'm going to say native to Teams, fully HIPAA compliant, and integrates into compliance packages. Is a topic we were just talking about. Super excited.
Yeah,
super excited to get it to market.
I love it because there's nobody out there that does this.
No one's doing it.
And a little hint is, I just mentioned it as one of the biggest things that organizations still use and need, but can't get from Teams, and being able to push that information or whatever it may be right in the Teams ecosystem just sets us apart from the field. So it's pretty darn exciting. Okay, Brandon, I've got a question for you, and this is a question that organizations have, and it can be technical or it can be just come from a business perspective. But your answer on why, I'm going to start from the very beginning. Okay, so we're jumping into this phone system piece thing. Why would organizations choose an Operator Connect provider versus a direct routing provider, or versus, going to Microsoft Teams calling plans? What do you say to that?
I mean, high level, it's, a couple things, right? whether the client knows it or not, operators are fully certified by Microsoft. We go through a stringent process to certify. We're directly connected to Microsoft, and we have to provide the SLAs that are backed by Microsoft. Right? Direct routing carriers don't have to do that. Direct routing carriers don't have to be directly connected. And direct routing is a more cumbersome, more manual, PowerShell may be involved. A lot more things to set up. Operator Connect it depends on the operator, but like in our case, it's mostly automated. It's kind of push button and you're kind of up and going.
Okay.
So that's why you'd pick operator.
So secure because you're physically connected into Microsoft Teams. You're certified with Microsoft Teams against their set of APIs to automate. Now the automation is the second thing, to automate any services and features and management of the platform that you need. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, cool. Well, I mean, that's great. One of the things that I like to tell organizations is if there's any reason or any need for you to ever use texting as an example, you can't text over Microsoft Teams calling plan. You would need a platform like an Operator Connect provider, like a G12 or whoever else that's in Operator Connect in order to activate sort of text messaging, and they have to have the text messaging application. That is something we have. So, okay. All right. So that's why you would choose an Operator Connect provider. Now, Brandon, what does the phone system look like? Like there's two sides to this. There's the end user side and there's the administrator side. Can you give us an idea of what the administrator side looks like? And I think obviously if you're a Microsoft administrator, this is going to look really familiar to you, but if you're not, and you're like, hey man, I operate on a Avaya phone system. Well, here's what it looks like.
You want me to share my screen?
I do. That was like a, that was my cue. That was your cue. That was like a movie. That was like a movie segue. Is what that was.
I was actually getting ready to share my screen. And I realized I still had a few things open. I'm like, I better close that.
That was a perfect segue. And here's what they're going to look like. And now you just jacked it all up. Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course. I'm really good at that. There we go. Get you off the screen. No one needs to see you twice. Wink, wink.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if you're already the Teams administrator in the Microsoft world, or you have any kind of access to even just any of the admin centers within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, it's very much that, what we find is a lot of vendors kind of follow this left pane menu option for how you navigate your system. And Microsoft has done a pretty good job of organizing it in such a way that really the bulk of your phone system lives under, from an administration perspective, lives under the voice submenu within your tree, within the hierarchy of your settings. And this is where you set up things like your direct routing, if that's the route you're going to go, or even electing your operator. And so you can see who your operators are, managing your phone number inventory. If you're a Microsoft calling plan or an Operator Connect customer, you can see and manage your inventory right here. And I'll call out one thing, another reason that OC has its advantage is direct routing. You don't get to manage your inventory from a single pane of glass. You're probably going to have like a spreadsheet or a database that you're keeping track of your number inventory that's assigned to your user base.
No, really?
For real. For real. So yeah, well, I mean, what kind of specific things do you want to talk about? Like, do we want to talk about call flow?
I'm going to take call flow, but I'm going to take you right through. Here we go. Let's go. I've got an administrator who's not a Teams administrator, but messes with the phones every now and then, and they typically will make changes to the auto attendant as an example, or the greetings for the main company line when, let's say there's a closure, let's say, there's some reason that we're off or that the organization is closed, campus is closed, weather, whatever it may be. Who can go into something like that, change those things? Do they need to be an administrator? Can I delegate some permissions to them? That sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, both, right? That's the beauty of the way Microsoft has set this up. If I want to come in and I want to change as an admin, if I have full admin access to Teams Admin Center, I can come in and I can pick my main line and I can change my hours. I can change my greeting.
Go back to that for just a second. Let's just go back to that screen for just a moment, please. That's the main. So is this a list of auto attendants right here?
This is the list of all my auto attendants in the phone system. Yep.
So if I wanted to put emergency closure auto attendants, Obviously there's the after hours auto attendants, or it's a snow day auto. If I wanted to put my auto attendant in there, now question we actually had, this is an actual question. Here's the auto attendant list right here. How would I get a number pointed to that auto attendant list that my main number, as an example, goes from your normal open greeting to, hey, we've got some weather, inclement weather. Here's this, this is the message I get now.
So let me make sure I understand. You want me to show where the main number gets tied?
Yeah, well, it's like, I'm sure there's a lot of ways to sort of skin this, right?
There's tons of ways, yeah.
And so let's just say, what's the easiest way for you to go, great, school's closed. How do I get this number or my main number to say school's closed? Now, without changing the main auto attendant that everyone goes through, because the main auto attendant's bigger and you'll go to this, go to that, go to this, go to that. I'd hate to have somebody write over, that normal auto attendant. You see what I mean? So how do I get the auto attendant changed in the most efficient way?
Yeah, you could, again, there's, like you said, there's a lot of ways to skin this. You could have, so resource accounts are where you license your phone number for the inbound PSTN routing. So I'm going to assign, say this 800 number is my mainline number. It's going to my mainline auto attendant. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can obviously just change your greeting in your main auto attendant to talk about that closure, right? Inclement weather, whatever you want. You can update your hours, time of day routing to move it to treatment around inclement weather. Or you could technically reassign your phone number to a different resource account that points to an emergency auto attendant. I wouldn't do that because now you're messing with PSTN routing that we see sometimes in the Microsoft world. It doesn't sync right away, so you risk service impairment to yourself if you're moving your phone numbers around. Could be 30 seconds, could be 24 hours, depending on the mood of Microsoft. So I think the way I would do it is I would keep everything on the main line, and I would handle my settings based on how you want to handle it on hours, or, again, every business is different because you might close one segment of the business and need to announce that inclement weather, or you might close the entire business, right? So the approach we at G12 would take is we're going to sit down and we're going to work with you to understand how you need to do that. So that's the first part of the answer. The second part of the answer is you can delegate, depending on how you solution this, you can delegate it to a supervisor or to a resource within your company that then I'll minimize this and ignore that. I'll bring my Teams client over and I'll show you in the delegation under calls, you can see the different, I know this is really small probably on the viewer screen, but there's, like, I'm clicking on a call queue where I can come in as a delegated user and I can change the greeting, right? So I can immediately route it to somewhere else. I can change the greeting and then get it routed somewhere else if I need to do a closure or I need to do something. And as the user, I'm not allowed to log into the Teams admin center. So that's kind of the two-pronged approach. First, you need an admin to design it,
right?
And then based on the design, you can delegate that task to, a receptionist or whoever would be in charge of, dictating that greeting and call routing scenario.
All right. Got it. Okay. So that's the auto attendant. And then what about a call queue? I've got a baby call center. When I say a baby call center, I've got a really sort of basic call center. I've got, 10 people in my customer service department, and it's not a sophisticated solution. I'm replacing a ShoreTel or a Mitel basic phone system. No extra call center software attached to it.
Well, there's actually, believe it or not, there is coming very soon some pretty interesting features that, are more in line with a more robust call center. So first thing, obviously, is the call queue, right? You've got to set up, once you get through that IVR, that auto attendant, and you get into, say, we'll talk about sales, because I think sales is the one I have set up for the Teams client to show how you could potentially set it up for call center. again, you can handle greetings in your call queues as well to be more specific to what that queue is servicing. You then get to choose and influence how you're going to route that call to your pool of agents. You can do it by team. That's the team option within Teams. So what I mean by that is on the client. Where's my client at? Under the team section where you can create teams for collaboration. You can actually identify the team. So I've called this one sales queue. So down in the sales queue under general, I now have a calls section that can handle this portion of that little baby contact center.
Just to break it down, hold on. I want to break it down because the lingo that you're using is a bit different than I think some people are used to. But if you've heard of voice-enabled channels, that's what this is, right? You're sending calls to a voice-enabled channel. It's a queue, but it's a voice-enabled channel. And this is where...
the channel that's enabled is the Teams group channel. I've just used the general channel within the Teams team that I've named sales queue. But that's exactly right. It's a voice-enabled channel. That then think about this though. What is really cool about this method is now once again, I don't need to be a Teams admin to control who's a part of this. We'll call it queue for whatever the contact center is. Whoever is made owner. So if I manage this team, whoever's the owner, and there can be more than one owner, now has the ability to add and remove members to automatically be joined into that.
See, that's a way better way to approach management of a call queue in an organization like that. Because I'll tell you, the biggest thing is who's got the ability to change who's in the office today. Someone calls in sick. Someone, doesn't come in. I've only got 4 people and now I've got 2 people and I need to add another couple of people that don't normally take the calls into this today. And so having the ability to have whoever has got permissions to go and change this, this without being a Teams administrator, that's pretty cool because now again, and what a difference, like you can see where you take the call here, right? So Brandon, normally your phone system, as an example, your dial pad is on the left-hand side, top left corner, right? When you're in the voice-enabled queue in or the voice-enabled channel, and you're taking a call from there, the dial pad's on the right-hand side there.
Yeah, and then again, based on the admin settings, you can even allow, if you want, you can allow your agents to pull themselves out of the queue. So like I'm right now, it's this little radio button by my name, but I can pull myself in and out of the queue. And there's a feature coming where supervisors can be delegated down the road where they can force people in and out of queue, just like a contact center, right? So if you've got an agent that's forgot to put themselves into queue, as a supervisor, you can come in and you'll be able to put them in queue.
Yeah, see, that's pretty exciting for my pretty basic contact center solution here. That's pretty cool to be able to have that. Brandon, you've got auto attendants that you've addressed. You've addressed call groups. What about the time of day stuff? Like this whole before hours, after hours, how does that get handled? Do I push a button still for after hours? What does that look like?
Nope. That's all handled at the attendant level. So like as an example, I've got a main line and I think the service provider industry is a really good example to talk about because service providers, you want to be open 24/7 for support, right? Someone calls in, they want to press 1 for support, they want to get through. So like in the Microsoft Teams ecosystem, I've set my main line to be, you can see 7 days a week, I'm open 24/7. And then what I'm doing is based on the call flow, depending on the options that you pick. So let me get back up here. You see option 1 is for sales, option 2 is for support in the example, right? So at this point, I'm 24/7. I have the opportunity to press 1 for sales, 2 for support. So now let's go back and let's pick on sales. Sales, it's going to route, when I press option 1, it's going to route me over to the sales attendant. And you're going to see that my call flow hours are more strict than the 24/7, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then
it needs to be like 10 to 2. I mean, like for sales. I mean,
I had it set that way. I think one of your salespeople got a little offended and came in and changed it. No, I don't know. But yeah, and then again, now that I'm in this attendant flow, I can now influence what to do after hours. So I can come back down. Let's say it's after 5 p.m. I can say, hey, did you actually need support? Press 1 and I'll get you back to support, which is 24/7. Or if you want to leave a voicemail, leave a voicemail. If you don't want to do that, then just hang up the phone. So there's so much flexibility on how you begin to dictate your hours of operation and what to do if you're closed, what to do if you need overflow, all kinds of different ways to get that call delivered. You can even then push it back out. Lots of companies use external call centers to service 24/7. So you can push it out PSTN, right back out your carrier and handle it that way.
So are you amazed by the number of organizations that maybe you encounter and or call that still have press 1, press 2, press 3, that have the DTMF set up as, and just so you guys know, DTMF is just beep, 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 the noise that when you push a button, that's DTMF. So are you surprised today the amount of businesses out there that have DTMF in order to navigate or route where they need to go? I'm surprised still, because one of the key features in Microsoft Teams here is that it is all voice enabled. Like, where do you want to go? Like, I'd like to go to sales, please. Hey, what do you need? Voice, and you just say sales, and you've got the words. And that what prompted me to think about this is you've got the words that are right there, that if the system hears what you're looking for, it's got a place to route.
And and it's completely up to the admin and the business to decide whether they want to do that. But again, you're not going to see it on the screen necessarily, but I've highlighted, it says voice command. You can put, I'm not sure what the character limit is, but you can put whatever you want. And then, just make sure that if you do that, whatever your greeting message is, you're instructing the person on what words to say, because the system isn't necessarily going to know. The caller's not necessarily going to know.
Say or press 1 for sales, say or press 2 for whatever. I got you. Okay, cool. That's exciting, because it is nice to be able to do just kind of voice activated stuff. I think that's pretty nice, particularly when the voice caption, or when the voice is captured properly and transitioned or translated properly, right? Because no one wants to go sales, no one wants to scream it over and over again, right? And so when you have a system that works as well as Microsoft does for voice recognition, it's pretty darn exciting. Okay, now we've gone through. Oh, go ahead.
I'll just say the one thing that I think I've found as we work with people to transition, say, away from the legacy on-prem systems. I think they oftentimes they initially approach this with, well, are you sure? One eyebrow raised, because when you look at how Microsoft has built this in a very wizard, make sure you fill all this out before you hit next, very simple, straightforward, intuitive method to set up the phone system, versus, your legacy systems can be a little bit more cumbersome, of you got to jump screens and you got to remember the logic of what to tie to what. Microsoft has simplified it so much so that it's almost like when someone's first exposed to it, they just go, are you sure this actually does it? Yeah. And then we show them like 6 clicks of a button, and they sit there and go, holy smokes, that was so easy.
It happens every time. Like, it happens almost every time, particularly for the individuals that have looked at a phone system or have managed a phone system, and they know what it takes, and they're open-minded about it. Because I can tell you that we work with some organizations that are, let's just say, that are really Cisco kind of, centric, as an example. And they're like, the Cisco is way too complex. It can't be captured in, 6 different 6 little menu items right there. You can't possibly capture all the routing logic that I do. Yes, you can actually.
Yeah. And then the last piece, since we're kind of on the little contact center call queue, I just want to point out that the other thing, and it's not fully integrated API integration to CRMs, but Microsoft also does support out of the box CRM screen pop. Or looking up the source caller. So, and it's literally you enable it, you put your URL instruction in with the variable, and you make sure the client is enabled. So it's 3 settings, and you've got full on screen pop.
So
the CRM of choice.
So let's say I run HubSpot or Salesforce. Call comes in to designated, and let's say I've got the main number, or let's say I hit a call queue, and a call comes in and someone answers. That information is going to come through to that client, to the end user client, and pull the CRM sort of record if there is one. I love this. Here it comes.
Yeah, let's just see if this works. Now, to be fair, we were on vacation, and I told you before this, when you put me on the spot, I'm like, I haven't logged into demo in like a hot minute. So we'll see if any demo works.
There we go.
Mine is set to 365 Dynamics, but again, it can be Salesforce, it can be Zendesk, it can be HubSpot, it can be whatever you want it to be. So I'm calling in.
I'm not going to do the drum roll, but maybe I can do a G or something on the guitar.
No, here it comes. And there's my screen pop. And you're going to see. Let me mute myself here. And there's the screen pop. I'm probably choking out my internet connection on a live stream.
Yeah. You're running
we'll let it load.
Different things here.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the source number that it automatically populated. That's the number I called from.
And that's the variable you're talking about, right? You insert the variable, and that's the caller ID number as an example.
Yep. So there it just popped a record for, looks like a John Jones at AdventureWorks Electronics. So then obviously as an agent, you can click into that and begin to see where maybe you got tickets, maybe you got a deal opportunity. You can kind of then get your work notes and all of that stuff. And yeah, your typical screen pop.
Let's go. Let me just kind of recap everything for just a moment, because we've covered basically why you choose Operator Connect as an Operator Connect provider, as some of the hardware for the phone system, whether it's devices or pads or headphones, things like that, and room bars. And then you've got call queues and auto attendance. And now you've showed us a baby sort of contact group. Now you've shown us in just a few clicks, basically you've shown us Salesforce this Dynamics integration so that I could do a screen pop. And this is like, what do you think this is take? I'm not going to, say it's really simple, because you do need to know what you're doing just a little bit, but like, what does it take to do something like this really?
It honestly isn't. I mean, we've got customers that come in and I think the more common one that we see is Salesforce, but we've got our templates built already. So all we need from the customer is, what's your unique domain name? And it takes us 5-6 minutes to set it up for the customer, and boom, they're done. They've got a screen pop working.
Like, how awesome is that? Like if I'm an organization and I'm customer centric, and you not UC, but CX is becoming a massive sort of market trend, right? Creating the best experience for a customer. And I always say that I feel like it's been led by not by Microsoft, but led by Amazon in that respect, because you've got Alexa popping you up your orders and updates to your orders, and text messaging and emails for your orders, and when they're shipped, when they're delivered, all sorts of really sort of high touch, automated sort of engagement with your orders. And so I look at as Amazon as that sort of CX, kind of powerhouse and genius when it comes to engagement. But this is amazing. If I'm just the normal business, I'm a law firm, and I've got information that pops up, and I've got a CRM that's got all my clients in there, and I can see who it is. And now I'm ready to take notes. I'm ready to like slap in some notes, and here's Rick calling about someone suing him again, whatever it is.
But
so like
here's the thing, like, and we could do a whole nother show on, like, I've got Copilot plugged into Dynamics 365, and when it's a different integration for the phone system over here where it's embedded into Dynamics, and I don't want to get too off topic, but when I start taking calls here, Copilot will automatically, this one was back in September, it'll automatically summarize the deal or whatever it is that screen pop is generated on. So the agent now just has a working summary. They don't have to like try to navigate this giant screen. They can be like, oh, I see that we need to continue talking about this opportunity for the coffee maker that's valued at, $49.99, or we need to talk about the warranty, or, whatever it is.
Man,
So that's a
cool.
whole nother show.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna stop right there because that is super cool. And again, it's all packaged into Teams Phone as a solution here.
And then of course you and I have been on other shows where I've teased the front end virtual agent, right? Where that's a whole nother component to this.
That's right. That's
So
right. The virtual agent provide information.
You can quickly see how while Microsoft may not be a full-fledged contact center phone system, as you start to bolt on these integration features within Microsoft, whether it's Microsoft Direct or it's some of the stuff we offer, like I had pulled over to show that, something that's behind the scenes that, we offer is compliant-based call recording, where this call is being recorded. The agent has no ability to influence that because the company needs the compliance, right? So all that to say, you can actually get a pretty robust contact center depending on your requirements.
Right in Teams Phone, right? I mean, just right out of the box, box, Teams Phone. That's pretty impressive. A couple of things I want to tell you, since we're on Copilot for just a hot second, built into that right there. You were right about the GA date. It's November 1st, where it's GA. Okay, so this is fantastic. I want to get back to a couple more basics because again, this is the back to basics sort of episode. Let's talk 911 because man, that is important. There are laws that people have to follow. There's Kerry's law. There is Ray Baum sort of needs to be followed. So there's some 911 requirements out there, and I want to understand, how do I handle 911 in Teams?
If you'd asked me that question a year ago, I would have laughed at you and said, you don't. You could, but it was very cumbersome. Microsoft here about, I want to say it was 6 or 8 months ago, came out with their latest 911 feature update, and it is game changer for how they do things. So that's, from an admin perspective, that's handled under a couple different locations. One is called network topology and locations, and the other is where you define your emergency addresses. The call out here is what this gets used for. It gets used for if you're an office location that needs to statically set and guarantee 911 calling from your location. That's simply, I set up my network topology, I tie it to an address, and I assign it to a user. So when they walk into the office, they plug their computer into the network, and this could be even for, maybe it's a guest that uses their own computer for whatever. You can start to influence the 911 policy on your own network within Teams. So
good.
It'll force the address to the user's client, which I'll show here in just a second. And it won't, as long as they're on the network and detected on the network for the location and that topology, it will not let the user change that location. So it removes the risk of them accidentally calling from a location that may be incorrect.
Now you say it beautifully, but I'm going to repeat it, Brandon, just because it takes a while for me to comprehend things. So I'm going to restate exactly what you said in a way that I understand it. Okay. So what you're telling me is I've got a few locations. I got a few office locations, and my policy is such that any network or any PC on my, like I call it user, let me call it user, any user in my offices, when they walk in, regardless of what they have set on their personal 911 locator. And we're going to show that in a moment, because you can set a personal location for 911 in your Teams client if the rules allow you to. But when they walk into that branch, they are automatically set up for 911 that is designated by the policy, so that basically they call 911 from anywhere from this building, let's just say, and that's the address that's coming up, not what I have as my personal sort of location.
That's right.
That's cool.
And it's all automatically detected.
That's
so then
really
if we
cool.
talk about, and then if we talk about, if we come up into the emergency policies, and I'm not going to get into a ton of detail on this, but we can actually then, as an admin, I can set up dynamic policies that then put, and this is for Ray Baum's compliance, in case people are really curious about FCC requirements. This allows for the remote user, which we all know G12 is a remote company. So we need to give our employees the ability to automatically try to detect their location, but then give them a manual way to validate the address because they're remote. So as an example, this is probably really small on the screen, and I can't zoom in on it, but on the client under the dial pad, there's a location section. This is going to try to locate you based on the public IP that you're at. Obviously, I would tell our customers, you probably should have your users trained to validate that, because chances are, based on public IP, that's not going to be a correct location. Or
mine,
let's say,
just mine was my neighbors. Like mine was literally the neighbors. Like based on that, it got right next door to me, but not to my house here. So I ended up changing it just to show people. But go for it. Sorry.
Yep. And so in order to do that, if it happens to be correct, you can just click confirm and you're good to go. Or you can edit it. So I've pulled an address. Let's see if I can get it to validate. Let's just say I'm in Denver. Let's say I'm visiting Microsoft, which happens to be right up the road from me. Let's see. Copy. Because I want to show the validation as well. And I found that Microsoft uses Bing, so they're kind of on East versus E. But you'll see here, it automatically detected Denver, Colorado based on the map. So I'm going to click on that. And as soon as I confirm that, that's going to be my emergency address location. Now, let's say Microsoft is, I can't remember what floor they're on, but let's just say it's floor 4. Helps provide the emergency responders the correct location within the building. So as soon as I hit confirm, that's now my address. When I call 911, that's where emergency responders are going to go. So that's 911 in a nutshell.
That's fantastic. What a simple way to cover group 911 location requirements, right? And individual 911 location requirements. You've got it all handled right there. One of the last question. Let's see if we can knock this out in a heartbeat here. Text messaging in North America is a crazy strong medium. Brandon, what do we use for text messaging, and what can people do for text messaging? And you can show it, or if it's in the group that you're going to show it in, I can show it as an individual if you'd like. Let me know.
Yeah, mine is in the group. The functionality is the same, but we use, and maybe we show both, but we use an integrated application that sits inside of Teams. Right, our client, or in this case, our demo, we install it. It feels like Teams. Obviously, you can show it how it looks more native on Teams without the integration to the group. But that's text messaging. It acts and behaves just like you're chatting with, a person in your regular Teams chat. It's just a whole nother channel. It's specifically enabled for your phone number to do true native SMS to and from cell phones and other SMS enabled services.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show it just as a personal, view, because I think it's pretty interesting. Let's do this. Let me share my screen here. And I know we're running really short.
I can give you a quick text.
No, I've got it here. I'll just show some other text. So here is mine. So you've got my calls, my calendar, my normal Teams environment here, and here's my text messaging. So I'm in my text messaging application, and so you can come through and you can take a look and go, here is a text message from someone. Here's another text. Again, text messaging, normal text messaging. You've got pictures in here as well. So there's a lot of similarities in just your mobile device. You can, again, attachments right here. And you've got contacts if you want.
And it's all designed. This is all mobile friendly too. So when you actually open this SMS integration in Teams on the Teams mobile app, it feels just like if you're familiar with your texting app, whether it's the Apple iMessage app or your Android native text message. It feels and behaves identically. Yeah.
Yep. And this is so it's really nice just to go through, and you can see that you can get even GIFs are open in here, so you can see this as well. So this is pretty cool. The contacts, again, you build the contacts in there, and then groups. You can have small groups that you can build that you can send information out to. and not in mass, but again, small groups to send out messages to. And if you look at the icon right here, it's just texting, right? It looks real simple. It's just texting. So, real simple to operate, looks and feels like Teams, like you said, and it's pretty cool. Okay, let's do that. Brandon, we're at the top of the hour nearly. We went through some basic things, but let's recap. We went through Operator Connect, why you want to be an Operator Connect. We went through call queues, auto attendance, number assignment. We went through screen pops, call groups, call queues as an example, a screen pop out of the box for CRMs. We went through 911 as it relates to groups and individuals. And we went through, I think we did some devices as well, but then we went through text messaging now and covered a ton in this hour. And then obviously we covered that you and I were on vacation for the last couple of weeks. And that's why you didn't see episode 38 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever it was the last day we did ours. So we're back and we're bold. And we're going to be green because it's going to be momentum come the end of November-ish or so. We'll see. So it's pretty darn exciting to get through that and take this to the masses because they've got such a big sort of organization that can help with the distribution and training and all that good stuff. So it's pretty darn exciting. All right, what else you got?
Yeah, no, we didn't even scratch the surface on all the things the Teams phone system can do, from just features like call park and call delegation, and all of the things that you would expect a phone system to do. So what I'd tell our listeners, if you're sitting here, you're on a Cisco, you're on another hosted environment, via whoever, and you're considering Teams, but you're not sure because you're not sure about feature parity. Bug Rick. He's really good at bugging me. And then we'll get the questions asked or answered for you.
There you go. And that, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, that is our Back to Basics episode 38 with Brandon Bradley and Rick Garcia. That's a wrap, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Next week, everything Teams Phone Live. We've got a special guest coming and it's going to be awesome. We'll catch you later, everyone. Bye.